I've heard you say you produce a wide variety of tracks, but I've only ever heard hardcore, gabber, and D&B. Any chance we might ever see some of these other tracks, perhaps in the MP3 store at the very least?
I think some of them are. There's some ambient in there, there's some house in there, although that's pretty rubbish, I have to say. My house productions are not as good as Production House. Anyway, that's about it actually. I find it very hard nowadays to make music which isn't for a project, or 10 years or 15 years, or however many bloody years it is of making this music has sort of trained me to make music towards the goal of releasing it. So yeah, my wide variety of music, my huge spectrum of music turns out to be old school gabber, drum and bass and hardcore. Oops.
How often, or when was the last time that you listened to the Smarties album?
The last time I listened to the Smarties album would have been 1993, when we made it. What a load of shit.
Okay.
No, it's just not something I didn't have a lot of say in that album. Mostly Nick looked after it, and I threw the odd idea in, but I think I was more interested in spending money and skateboarding than studioing at that point.
What's the craziest flip/tech trick you landed, or trick you're most proud of, most elusive? Video footage available?
I'm not going to show you the trick because I've only done it once, and I did this in a competition. Come with me. Okay, I'm standing on the edge of the board like this, and you do a flip trick, which I'm not going to land because I'm in a room, but the board spins like this, except that I landed back like that. And I did it by accident, and it was in a competition, and I came first. And after the competition, everybody said to me, "Oh, show me that trick, it was brilliant." And I was like, nah. I've only ever made it once. Are we back?
Yep.
Are we finished yet?
No, we've still got 4 more pages to go, I think.
This was a bad idea. DVD's going to be about 8 hours long, mumbling on about things.
Alright, another question from Damon. If the opportunity presented itself, would you have any interest in bringing your tracks of the Nightforce sound to any of the big hardcore compilations? Like Bonkers, Hardcore Heaven, Hardcore Nation? Or would you prefer to continue blazing your own trail with releases?
I just don't think about that stuff. If Bonkers or something like that was to come my way, then I would want to put my own imprint on it. Not necessarily my own tracks, 1 or 2 of my own probably. I don't know, I just don't really think about it. I take things day by day. If I get asked, then I'll consider that project at that time. I've got nothing against any of those albums. I think a lot of them just don't know what to do with me or my stuff. I seem to exist in my own little bubble outside the scene.
If you lost your collection, or your house floated away or something, what would be the first 5 or 10 records that you'd run out and buy again because you can't live without them?
Joey Beltram's Energy Flash, NRG Never Lost His Hardcore, 9 Inch Nails The Downward Spiral, Superstring by Cygnus X on IQ, Public Enemy, probably Fear of Black Planet, Ice-T, Rhyme Pays, all the Hyperon experiences, because otherwise I'll die.
And do you ever make it through a full movie without considering sampling something along the way? I think I can answer this one, no.
No, that's not true. Actually, I kind of hate that. I even do it with books. I read a book and I'll read something and I'll think, cool, that's a good sample. To the sad extent where I've heard a Lunacy sample, or read in a book someone saying, you know, lunacy and destructive lunacy at that. Then I got the audio book and went through it and found the sample and used it on Scratch My Mix Up.
Traffic Cone. He wants to know, how do you feel about people sampling your tunes? Is it just Paul Elstak you didn't like doing it?
I don't mind people sampling. With sampling, I'm the last person to criticise. I sample, everybody samples, that's fine. What I disliked about the Paul Elstak thing, and remember this is old history and since then me and him have chatted and it's all good, but what I didn't like about it was he would rip off a tune and then he would just take our beats and stick it with a kick drum, and he did it repeatedly on about 4 or 5 releases, and I just thought that was shit because it was lazy, you know? I mean, it's not that hard to make a break beat, and just to steal ours was kind of crap. But like I said, that was all water under the bridge. It's not something that bothers me now. In general, if someone samples me, if they just sample it, then that's kind of okay. I don't care. If they sample it and do something amazing with it, then I'm really stoked. You know, I like to hear my breaks taken and cut up, or my piano used in an interesting way. I'm all fine with that. If it's lazy and crap and they've just ripped me off, then I get the hump. You know? And I would like to think the people I sample would see it the same way. I rarely take someone's vocal or somebody else's music and just slap it in a tune with a beat behind it. You know, anyone can do that. It's child's play. Come on, people. If you can't do something interesting with it, then just leave it alone.
Do you think making a track that retreads an old style, say for example the more 92 sounding hardcore breaks, is a good or bad idea?
It depends whether it's a good or bad track that you end up with. If it's a good tune, it's all good by me. I think people mistake the music industry in a lot of ways, especially the dance music, because they still have this idea that dance music is new. But dance music is old. We're looking at 30 years of this sort of thing now. And like rock and like everything else, there were good stuff that happened in the past, and the years go by and people recycle it. And that's just the natural way it is. The older I get, it seems to me every 10 years, it's the same thing again. I mean, think about it. It's almost an exact parallel with the 94, 95 era of hardcore. You know, it all just goes around in a big circle. So, I mean, all the rock nowadays, the Strokes, people like that, it all just sounds like old rock. Quite often you hear tunes, or take that Scissor Sisters, I Don't Feel Like Dancing, it just sounds like the Bee Gees. And no one goes, oh, that shit, it's all old, because it doesn't matter, it's a good tune if you like that sort of thing, which I do. Even though it's a bit camp.
TripTech asks, when you're working with new artists in the KF dungeon, are they permitted toilet breaks?
Yes, they are.
Do you feel, looking back, that although you lost interest in hardcore around 1997, when the scene went really shit, you could have capitalized on this to start a new breakbeat movement? Or do you feel it was best left to die and be resurrected in the 2000s, as it has done?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I've never thought I could have capitalised by doing breakbeat stuff, because that's what I was doing and it wasn't selling. Things were a struggle. But it's hard to say whether things weren't selling because I'd lost interest and was making pants music, or whether the music was okay but people weren't buying that style. I sometimes think what I should have done is gone the banging route and just made banging hardcore and like gone with that. But I couldn't have done that any more than I could do that now and just make that stuff. It's not... I like breaks. I like kick drums too, but breaks is what I'm good at and what I enjoy doing. And I'm just not a good enough businessman to be able to say to myself, well, this will make more money, do this. I tend to go, I like doing this, so I'm going to stubbornly do it regardless of whether it sells. So, yeah, I guess opportunities were missed, but here we are now. I'm not complaining. I think I did alright.
Okay, Harmony wants to know, do you have any pets? And if so, who are they? And give us a look.
No, I don't have any pets. Me and Becky have been deciding whether to get a puppy or whether to have a child. So that's quite, you know, that's what we're deciding. I've been going for the puppy idea because we get fed up with it, stick it in a bag, throw it in the lake. You can't do that with a baby, apparently.
You can't do that with a puppy either.
Why not?
What do you get up to in your spare time?
Well, on a nice relaxing Saturday I like to work. On a Sunday I tend to take it easy by going to the gym and then working.